Welcome back. For more on the Wisconsin Supreme Court race, I am joined by UW-La Crosse political science professor Anthony Chergosky. Anthony, first, so happy to have you in studio for the first time seeing the new set and all this, but it's a pleasure to have you in.
Thank you, Ken.
All right, so let's dive right in. $42 million being spent for this nonpartisan race, but for all intents and purposes, it's kind of felt like a partisan race. You close your eyes for any of the advertisements that have run, and it's felt like we're almost in a November general election. But the future of abortion kind of becoming the central focus of both campaigns. Janet Protasiewicz has painted Daniel Kelly as someone who will uphold the current 1849 ban. Meanwhile, Kelly calling Protasiewicz an activist and a politician in a black robe. Now, how effective do you think kind of that embracing of almost like a partisan campaign mentality has benefited either side so far?
Ken, it's a huge test for what judicial elections will look like in 2023 and beyond. Normally, we think of judges as being these objective, neutral people who can put on a robe and put aside all of their biases, all of their personal points of view. But this has been a very different type of election where the candidates are very upfront, particularly Protasiewicz, upfront about what she believes. Kelly has run more of a traditional campaign, trying to say that the election is not about his own personal point of view. So the results will be a fantastic test of what sells in a judicial election in 2023.
Now, of course, we had the February primary, and primaries don't necessarily dictate what the general is going to do, but in February's primary, Protasiewicz won almost all of the western Wisconsin counties that get our signal here at News 8, and the couple that Dan Kelly won, they were by very, very slim margins. Now, how do you think Kelly's campaign and his supporters, some of those super PACs that have spent a lot of ad money, how have they tried to maybe ease up on that deficit?
They've tried to do two things, Ken. They have tried to run that traditional judicial campaign, focusing on neutrality, focusing on the idea that judges should not use their own personal preferences in trying to make decisions. They have also focused on crime, trying to build anxiety about crime and tap into voters' anxiety about crime. Ken, we know that crime is a major issue in this campaign. It's not quite the issue that abortion is in this campaign, but crime has played a major role in the back and forth between the two candidates.
So then ultimately, depending on which side wins this race, how do you think that views the state's voters, and how do you think the state moves forward?
I think there's some interesting conversations to be had moving forward about the Wisconsin State Supreme Court. Ken, it would be one thing if we slightly broke the record for most spending on a judicial election. We absolutely shattered the record for most spending on a judicial election. So I think there's a conversation to be had about campaign finance reform, perhaps moving forward, the role of money in these elections, and also the role of partisanship. As you noted, Ken, it is clear that Dan Kelly is the Republican-backed candidate while Protasiewicz is the Democratic-backed candidate. There's a conversation to be had moving forward about what exactly we want our courts to look like in this state.
And it would be a very interesting conversation indeed. Anthony Chergosky, thanks so much for the time.
Thank you.
We'll be right back, everybody.